Okay, you can go ahead and talk, Jason said to Loken on the side. Wood spirit pool? Loken looked at the green air flow in front of him and the dazzling green light of the wood spirit pool. The breath that was constantly being emitted was floating in the sky above the bath. Just smelling it made Loken felt a sense of relief all over his body, and all the pores in his body seemed to open in an instant. In response to Jason's order, Loken naturally did not hesitate at all. He jumped out and fell directly into the wood spirit pool like a stream of light. Plop! Waves splashed everywhere. On the surface, the water in the bath looked boiling and steaming, but in fact the temperature was not very high, just like soaking in a hot spring. Buzz! Just as Loken looked at the water curiously, the entire wood spirit pond made strange trembling sounds. The rumbling sound was like a bell, shocking the soul. At the same time, the dazzling blue light radiating from the wood spirit pond converged. But the large amount of cyan air flowing on the surface of the pool roared towards Loken. Countless cyan air currents, like pythons, scurry in the wood spirit pond. These cyan air currents rushed towards Loken crazily, wrapping Loken's whole body into a blue silkworm cocoon, while the green airflow flows endlessly from the blue silkworm cocoon. Enter. On the bank of the bathing pool, everyone looked at this scene in surprise. This is such rich wood spiritual power. In the bathing pool, in the giant blue cocoon, Loken's eyes widened, feeling everything around him in surprise. As soon as he entered the wood spirit pool, Loken felt a large amount of energy surrounding him, as if he was trapped in his mother's belly. The strange energy gently seeped into the body, from all parts of the body. My whole body was numb, but I felt comfortable. How did Master do it? Loken's eyes widened, feeling the strange energy seeping into his body. That energy continuously penetrates from the surface of the skin, whether it is the muscles, meridians, nerves, blood, or even the bones. Even the eyes and skin are numb, and every part of the body is changing from the inside out. Whether mentally or physically, Loken was in an absolutely relaxed state. Because of the body of the wood spirit, Loken's body must absorb a large amount of energy every moment, causing him to be extremely weak. Although Jason once gave him a few bottles of 6th grade high-grade wood vitality potion, but for his shortcomings after more than 10 years, the extremely weak body still needs to be nourished for a long time. It is like a tree being eaten by moths. The surface is extremely dry, and the middle is chewed out by moths. It has lost its vitality, and the wood vitality potion is like applying a layer of nutrient solution on the surface of the trunk to Loken. Although the bark and xylem on the surface are moisturized, the inside has not improved and is still dry. One piece needs to be continuously infused with nutrient solution to slowly moisten it. But this wood spirit pool is completely different. The gentle energy not only nourishes Loken's muscles, meridians, and internal organs but even penetrates into the deepest bone chain and hair of Loken's body. The cells made Loken feel extremely comfortable from the inside out. Tisk, the green air flow, was flowing towards the blue cocoon where Loken was. Loken's green cocoon refused to accept anyone who came, and kept absorbing these green air currents, and strangely, the energy of the blood abyss essence, an endless stream poured into all parts of Loken's body. The muscles and bones of Korken's body. Muscles absorb as much energy as they receive. My whole body is shaking. Loken felt very comfortable. He felt that those strange energies penetrated deep into his body and resonated with the energy all over his body. He was completely immersed in it. Everything around him, I can no longer sense it at this moment. In the wood spirit pool, Loken sat motionless in the middle, absorbing the energy escaping from the blood abyss essence. Okay, let Loken stay inside like this. Chief Kester, arrange for a few people to wait here. If Loken makes any movement, have someone call me. I guess he is inside. We'll have to stay for quite a few days. Jason said aloud. Stay for a few days? Kester and the others were completely dumbfounded. They had no idea what Loken was doing in the bath. Although they all believed in Jason, they still felt a little uneasy in their hearts. Lord Jace, what is this wood spirit pond among the crowd? Locke couldn't help but speak out curiously. He was extremely curious about the purpose of this wood spirit pond. The other people around him also immediately focused their attention on Jason's face, and they were also extremely curious. Knowing everyone's concerns, he glanced at everyone and said with a smile, "The function of this wood spirit pond is similar to that of the blood abyss spirit pond in the secret realm of Spirit Pond. It can change a person's physique and cure Loken's diseases." Everyone. Don't worry, this wood spirit pond was prepared by Jason based on the principles of the blood abyss spirit pond. To put it bluntly, the blood abyss spirit pond in the secret realm of the spirit pond is that the medicinal power of the blood abyss essence is integrated into the pond water. Only in this way can a person's physique be changed. Based on this principle, Jason carefully studied the Lidong attribute in the first blood abyss essence and then blended more than 10 elixir materials. For a wood spirit body like Loken has special effects. Changing the physique is a very long process. For example, Kiros of the Phil family this time was soaked in the blood abyss spiritual pool for a full month, using the energy in the wood spirit pool created by the blood abyss essence. Although the content is more than 10 times higher than that of the ordinary blood abyss spirit pool, it cannot be completed in a short time. After giving all these instructions, Jason returned to his room. Kester and others arranged for several people to pay attention to Loken in the wood spirit pond day and night, while he began to integrate Rainbow City. Without the Loki family and the cooperation of Lord Odlin, no one in Rainbow City dared to go against the Mori family all day long. In addition, the Mori family had been in control of Rainbow City for a very long time. Within a few days, it means that the entire industry in Hongqing today is completely in the hands of the Mori family. After the members of the Loki family left the Mori family, they were also hunted down by Kester's people. Since the two families had already broken their skin, they naturally did not care about any superficial articles and left them behind. If you betray the other party, you will only cause trouble for your own family. Under the iron-blooded methods of the Mori family, only 2 or 3 big cats and kittens in the entire Loki family escaped, causing no more trouble. While the Mori family was taking control of Tianhong City's industry, the news of Cohen Hill's death was quickly conveyed to the headquarters of the Natan family in Tianluo City. Tianluo City, the residence of the Natan family. A wrinkled old woman sat in the hall. Below her were some elders and core figures of the Natan family. In the middle of the hall, there was a young man kneeling with his head lowered and a look on his face. Frightened. What? Cornhill is dead? This is impossible. What about Urwit? How is he? And that guy Nanluer, where is he? After hearing what the people below said, the old woman, his whole body was trembling, and his whole face showed an incredible light. This person is none other than Sharapova, the wife of Patriarch Cornhill, the biological sister of the Patriarch of Mofa family in Doro province, and Urwit is also her grandson. Madam Patriarch, in addition to Chief Cornhill, Elder Urwit and Grand Elder Nanluer were all killed by the Moli family in Rainbow City. You must make the decision for them from the bottom, a man, the elder of the Natan family, spoke angrily. When Cornhill was still alive, they were all extremely unhappy with Cornhill's arbitrary behavior, but when Cornhill really passed away, they became panicked. As a 7th-level low-level Imperial Spiritual Master, Cornhill was the key to the prosperity of the Natan family, but he unexpectedly died in Tianhong City. The only 2 6th-level high-level Spiritual Masters in the family, the Great Elder Nan Luoer and the 2nd Elder Rasid, also died at the hands of Jason. Now the entire Natan family only has a group of 6th-level intermediate spiritual masters left. The entire Natan family has no intention of revenge at all. Its own foundation is at this moment all are already in danger. Cornhill's wife Sharapova, although she does not play any role in the family, is the biological sister of the Patriarch of the Mofa family in the Doro province. Wade Wuchi, the Patriarch of the Mofa family, is the City Lord of Blue Moon City in the Doro province. As a 7th-level senior Imperial Spiritual Master, he was much stronger than Cornhill, so everyone in the Natan family immediately invited Sharapova out after receiving the news. "This is impossible," Sharapova murmured, and then her cold eyes passed over everyone in the hall, and she said, with the strength of Cornhill, "How could she die at the hands of the Mori family? Then isn't the Mori family a small family in Rainbow City? I heard that the strongest patriarch of their family is only a 6th-level intermediate spiritual master. How can something happen to Cornhill? Who can tell me what is going on? What's going on?" Sharapova said viciously, her expression looking a little ferocious. "Madam Patriarch, this young man is one of the 4 people sent by the family to follow Patriarch Cornhill to Rainbow City. He knows the whole story." Sharapova's cold eyes suddenly fell on her knees in the middle of the hall. Under Sharapova's gaze, the boy's back was like a gleam, and his whole body was trembling even more. "Raise your head and tell me exactly what happened." Sharapova squeezed out these words fiercely from her mouth. "Madam Patriarch, this is what happened." The young man trembled and started the decisive battle between Loken and Urwit, and then the chief of the Cornhill tribe took action. Finally, Jason appeared. After the 2 men fought, Jason hit the chief of the Cornhill tribe. He told the story exactly what happened, and then killed Grand Elder Nan Luor. Speaking of a tragic incident, after Junior Master's girlfriend's cell phone was stolen 2 days ago, Junior Master's coat in the library was also stolen. I stole a coat that the little master liked very much. I was so depressed that I cried. It's been so tragic recently. As the boy told the story, Sarabo's face became more and more ugly. Her hands were trembling and her face was livid. Fortunately, the Mori family only cared about chasing down members of the Loki family, and the villain was finally able to escape from Rainbow City and come back to report. The young man spoke tremblingly, with a look of horror on his face. Among the 4 members of the Natan family who went to Rainbow City this time, Patriarch Cornhill, Grand Elder Nanlur, and Master Urwit all died in Rainbow City. Only he, an insignificant entourage, came back alive. This made, having heard about the cruelty of the Patriarch's wife, he was extremely frightened and did not know what kind of fate he was about to face. "Okay, very good." Sharapova came to the young man on crutches. "The fact that you came back in time to report it shows that you still have your family in your heart." The young man felt relieved. But Sharapova's expression instantly became extremely ferocious. "Since you have already complained, then you can go and die." After the words fell, the stainless steel crutch in Sharapova's hand instantly turned into a there was an afterimage, and a stick hit the boy hard on the head. Poof! Under the impact of Sharapova's stainless steel crutch, the boy's head suddenly burst open like a rotten watermelon, and alternating red and white brains and blood splattered all over the floor and scattered in the hall, which was shocking. "Heart. Even my precious grandson is dead, but you kid can come back alive. It's so unfair." Sharapova's face was ferocious, and a vicious green light appeared in her eyes. The entire hall was silent. Although Sharapova's strength was only level 5, many people present were stronger than Sharapova, but they did not dare to defy Sharapova. Today, under such circumstances, only Sharapova, a member of the Mofa family, can save the entire Natan family. Jess, you little bastard, I don't care what your background is, you take away my husband and kill my grandson. If I don't kill you, I swear I won't be a human being." Sharapova's eyes were cold. She spoke viciously, and then ordered an old man on the side, "Immediately send someone to Blue Moon City in Doro Province in my name to invite my eldest brother Wade Wooch. Come, I will let him catch that little brat, I will let him know what hell is in the cold hall." Sharapova's eyes were red, her expression was ferocious, and she roared crazily. When the Natan family got the news, a few days later, deep in the Lingchi Mountains and at the foot of the Lingchi Peak, Aludiba, the patriarch of the Phil family and the leader of the Chi'er province, also got the news. Jess? A young man of about 20 years old actually killed a low-level imperial spiritual master like Cohen Hill. What is the origin of this young man? Arudi murmured to himself as he looked at the family information that passed into his hands. At around the age of 20, one can have the strength of a 7th-level Imperial Spiritual Master. Unless some geniuses secretly cultivated by big families, they will definitely be spread throughout the world. The Empire was famous, but he had never heard of such a famous person. Jace? Kiros, who was standing next to him, couldn't help but be stunned when he heard the name. What? Kiros, have you heard of this boy? Aludiba turned his head and said. Father, isn't that the boy who entered the secret realm of Lingqi with us a year ago? He represents the Mori family in Rainbow City, and the Cornhill family at the foot of Lingqi Peak. Station, it was you who stopped him from taking action against Jace. Don't you remember? Is it him? Aludiba couldn't help but be startled. He did remember such a thing, but because of his identity, he naturally didn't pay attention to who the young man was when he blocked Cornhill. Father, after entering the secret realm of the spiritual pool, Cornhill took action against Jace, but he escaped. Unexpectedly, just 1 year later, Jace actually killed Cornhill. Killed. Kiros's eyes showed a strong fighting spirit, but soon, there was a trace of doubt. However, when the exit of the secret realm of Lingqi was closed, among the 76 people who came out, it seemed that Jace was not included. Could it be that he had disguised his identity and blended in with the crowd? Kiros had a puzzled look on his face. Lord Patriarch, here is a letter explaining the incident from the Lord of Rainbow City Odlin. The middle-aged man delivering the news handed a letter to Aludiba's hand. So it's like this, interesting. Aludiba opened the sealed envelope and looked at the contents on it, with a smile on his face. Lord Patriarch. The middle-aged man on the side said, according to the news I learned, the Mori family is hunting down members of the Loki family in Tianhong City, which has caused extremely bad effects in Tianhong City. I don't know. Does the family want to impose sanctions on him? Sanctions? Aludiba shook his head and said, no, there is a letter of explanation from the Lord of Odlin City of the Giras family. You don't need to worry about this matter. Odlin really doesn't want to stay in the family and enjoy the blessings. He insists on bringing his granddaughter to Rainbow City to be the city lord. His Majesty Peter also lets him. It's really in more than 2 months, the Empire of Tyuria the prince and his entourage will come to Chi'er province. Before that, I have to make arrangements for the secret realm of Lingqi. Then I will go to Hongqing that day. A young man of about 20 years old can actually manage Cornhill. It's interesting to kill a low-level Imperial Spiritual Master. It's really interesting. Aludiba murmured to himself, his deep gaze fell on the dark red blood abyss mountain in the center of the forest in front of him, but his thoughts drifted elsewhere. This secret realm of Lingqi has been hidden in another dimension for countless years. This time, the void collapsed, directly covering the Lingqi peak, and appeared in the Lingqi mountains. I don't know what happened. I have sent the red crystal stone obtained from the Blood Abyss Mountain to the Imperial Medicine Academy. I think it won't be long before I can analyze the secret of the formation of the Blood Abyss Spirit Pool. If it can be artificially created by then, it can bring great benefits to the Empire. As the news that Jason killed the leader of the Cornhill clan of the Naton family continued to spread, the entire Chi'er province knew the news, which immediately caused an uproar. If it were normal, such a big thing would definitely happen and the rumors in Chi'er province are abuzz, but because of the changes in the secret realm of Lingqi, all the major families have paid attention there. All the families in Chi'er province are considering whether they can get any benefits from it. Although what happened in Rainbow City was shocking, it gradually settled down in front of what happened in the secret realm of the spirit pool emerging from the void. In Rainbow City, since Loken entered the wood spirit pool, Jason has been, that is to say, while practicing in the room, he did not pay much attention to the Mori family's control of Rainbow City and just let it develop on its own. During this period, some people deliberately came to visit the Mori family after hearing about the events in Rainbow City. He wanted to see the incomparable genius Jason, but Jason ordered Kester to block them all. For him, such a thing has no meaning at all. It is better to let the spiritual power circulate in the body for 2 times and grow stronger. A little bit comes in handy. Time passed, and in a blink of an eye, it was the 45th day since Loken entered the wood spirit pond. The first fist-sized crystal that Jason threw into the wood spirit pond had long been exhausted. Jason after that, 2 more blood abyss essence crystals of the same size were thrown in. Now even the 3rd crystal is almost consumed. It takes so long to absorb spiritual power and consumes so much blood. Jason was extremely surprised by the energy of the abyss essence. You must know that this is the most elite existence in the entire blood abyss essence vein. The purity of the energy in it far exceeds that of the blood abyss spirit pool that those people entered. Such a long period of absorption is almost unheard of even in the entire history of the secret realm of the spirit pool. Lord Jace on the 50th day after Luoquan entered the wood spirit pool, Jason, who was practicing in his room, heard Locke's anxious voice coming from outside the door. Lord Jace, Locke seems to have stopped absorbing it. Jason pushed the door open, and Locke said nervously outside the door. Let's go. Jason's eyes lit up immediately and he followed Locke to the edge of the wood spirit pond. After learning the news that Locken had stopped absorbing, Kester and others also walked over one after another. Jason looked at it intently and said, in the wood spirit pool in front of him, the cyan air flow was still pouring into Loken's body endlessly, but the amount was much less than at the beginning. I don't know when the cyan air flow finally slowed down until it stopped, and the cyan air flow finally slowed down until it stopped. The silkworm cocoon was also integrated into Loken's body, and Loken remained motionless in the wood spirit pond, as if he was sleeping. Loken seemed to be sleeping, but in fact his consciousness was still awake. Lokuan felt that whether it was the skin on the body, the inside of the muscles and bones, or the internal organs, there seemed to be countless extremely subtle energies trembling and jumping with excitement in the entire body. Every part of the body fluctuates with extremely fine amplitude. The energy of the wood spirit pond was completely integrated into every part of his body, harmonizing with each other. Everywhere seems to be alive. Luoquan felt incredible, and the energy of this wood spirit pool was also quietly transforming his body. Transformation is carried out from the deepest parts of muscle cells. Essentially transformed. Changing quietly, Loken also allowed his body to change. Waves of energy were flowing through Luoquan's body, and everyone stared at Luoquan in the wood spirit pond with wide eyes. Ah! Lokuan, who stood suddenly in the center of the pool, roared. Waves of green light were released from his body, and at the same time an indescribable pressure descended from the sky and enveloped the entire courtyard. The terrifying aura spread out. It hurts. Luoquan gritted his teeth. He felt that every cell in his body was erupting with astonishing energy. Countless energies were constantly merging in his body. This explosive energy made Luoquan unable to help himself. Roared out. The energy contained in the powerful body is like countless rivers, constantly merging and flowing upward. Todoroki Ryu. In everyone's surprised eyes, he, who originally had the aura of a 5th-level low-level sect spiritual master, suddenly broke through to a 5th-level intermediate sect spiritual master. However, what shocked everyone was that the aura of Luoquan, who had broken through to the 5th-level intermediate sect spiritual master, not only did not stop, but continued to rise after being promoted from the 5th-level low-level sect spiritual master to the 5th-level intermediate sect spiritual master. Loken was still sitting cross-legged in the pool, his aura rising continuously, exuding a terrifying aura of spiritual power. Waves of rich green wood-type spiritual power, like roaring green dragons, kept flying and lingering around Loken's body. Boom! Loken's aura instantly climbed to the peak of the 5th-level intermediate level, and then suddenly expanded, breaking through to the 5th-level advanced sect spirit master realm. Promoted again. Now we have reached the 5th level of senior sect spirit master. Oh my god, I am so surprised. On the side, Kester and others looked at Loku in the pool with wide eyes. Well, there was an expression of disbelief on his face. Among all the people present, only Jason's expression was still calm. However, what everyone found incredible was that after being promoted to the 5th level senior sect spirit master, Luo Kuan, he did not wake up, and the rising aura in his body did not stop, but continued to rise upwards. The pure cyanwood energy continued to penetrate every inch of the cells in Luo Kuan's body, and the cells continued to divide, accumulating powerful energy. This time even Jason's face became solemn. Soaking in the wood spirit pool and advancing to 2 levels was not a big surprise for Jason. After all, the wood spirit was made from the essence of the blood abyss. The essence of the pool is similar to that of the blood abyss spiritual pool. It is used to improve the physique of the spiritual master and enable him to accumulate a large amount of energy in his body. Like this time in the secret realm of the spirit pool, heroes of the Phil family soaked in the blood abyss spirit pool for a month and almost advanced from a 6th level low-level spiritual master to a 6th level high-level spiritual master. As a body of wood spirit, Loken's potential is definitely higher than that of Kiro's, and the wood spirit pool he soaked in was made of blood abyss essence, while the one Kiro's and others soaked in was produced from ordinary blood abyss essence. The blood abyss spirit pool is also very different. But at this moment, Loken has been promoted to the 5th level senior spiritual master. If he advances further, he will directly enter the realm of the 6th level spiritual master. This is a full level difference, and the difficulty is definitely not intermediate. Comparable to a level like advanced. It's like Jason absorbed 2 such powerful divine objects, the golden Lingzhu and the wooden Lingzhu, and only advanced from the 4th level of low level to the 4th level of high level and from the 5th level of intermediate level to the 5th level of high level. He never broke through the 1st level, which is enough to show that it's extremely difficult. Therefore, after seeing that after Loken was promoted to the 5th level senior sect spiritual master, his physical spiritual power continued to rise without any pause, Jason's heart couldn't help but be full of expectations. Powerful spiritual power is constantly lingering over the wood spirit pond, transforming into various scenes. Everyone stared at Luoquan in the pond with wide eyes, not daring to make any move for fear of disturbing Luoquan's promotion. No. I don't know how long it took. Boom. A huge amount of spiritual power descended from the sky and enveloped everyone present. At the same time, the wood spiritual power above the entire Mori family mansion was rioting. Countless blue rays of light were transformed over the mansion, like an aurora. As gorgeous and shocking as it is. Indescribably huge wood-type spiritual power swarmed from all over the mansion, constantly pouring into Luo Kuan's body. 6th level low-level spiritual master, Luo Kuan was promoted to the 6th level low-level spiritual master. It's incredible, it's incredible. Everyone's eyes widened, feeling the infinite wood spiritual power pouring into Luo Kuan's body, and they were speechless with excitement. After climbing to the extreme, the spiritual aura in Loken's body finally stagnated. Countless cyan halos dissipated in the air, and in the pool, Loken's eyes suddenly opened. I am feeling the rich 6th level low-level spiritual power in his body. Luo Kuan's face was full of excitement, and then he looked at the people on the shore. Wow! Amidst the sound of water waves, Loken jumped onto the shore. The first person he walked to was in front of Jason. Bang! In full view of everyone, Loken knelt heavily in front of Jason. Master, his eyes were red with excitement. He could feel that at this moment, his body had been extremely weak since childhood. There is no longer any feeling of weakness. There is a feeling of strength and power everywhere in his body, and his spiritual power level has reached the terrifying level of low-level 6th level. The person who brought him all this was his master Jason. Get up. Jason gently held Loken's shoulders and exerted a little force. Loken suddenly felt a huge force coming from Jason's hands, and his body stood up involuntarily. The body of the wood spirit is said to be invincible at the same level, but Loken, who has just been promoted to the 6th level of low-level spiritual master, is unable to resist Jason's powerful strength. Loken, have you been promoted to the 6th level of low-level spiritual master? On the side, Kester and others still had a hint of disbelief on their faces. 2 months ago, Luo Kuan was a 5th-level low-level spiritual master. However, after soaking in this wood spirit pool for 50 years, he was suddenly promoted to a 6th-level low-level spiritual master. This was very important to them. It was hard to accept it for a while. For people like Kester and the others, it is extremely difficult to advance to each level on the path of a spiritual master. Many people may not be able to advance from the 5th level to the 6th level in their lifetime. However, Loken, it only took a few minutes to complete this process. Such a huge gap made them unbelievable for a moment. They all cast their fiery gazes on Jason aside, their expressions full of excitement. They who have clearly seen every step of Loken's promotion process know that the reason why Loken was able to advance so quickly is because of this young man. Without the potion he prepared, Loken would not have been able to do so. Progressed so quickly. In their hearts, at this moment, Jason's image once again became extremely tall, and at the same time full of mystery. Although you have been promoted to the 6th level of low-level spiritual master, you must not be arrogant at all. You are already very strong in Tianhong City, but in the entire continent, your strength is nothing. Not to mention those of the older generation, even among your peers, are many who are better than you. In the eyes of some strong people, the 6th-level spiritual master may not even have reached the entry level. Different people look at the problem from different angles. Similarly, to Kester and the others, Loken, who had reached the 6th-level low-level spiritual master at the age of 19, was definitely a peerless genius, but in the eyes of Jason, the 9th-level elixir master in his previous life, but it's nothing. I have to admit that there are geniuses in this world, and goals that ordinary people cannot achieve in their lives are easy in their hands. With Loken's current age and strength, he is absolutely unparalleled in Tianhong City. Even in Chi'er province, he is extremely beautiful, but in the Salem Empire and even the entire continent, it is nothing. Lokuan grew up in Rainbow City and didn't know much. Jason, who was worried that he might be proud, couldn't help but solemnly remind him. I know, Master. Loken nodded solemnly, his eyes calm. Seeing Loken's solemn expression, Jason couldn't help but nodded. How did Jason know that because of his existence, Luo Kuan didn't feel any pride at all in his heart? Jason is only 1 year older than Loken. However, in terms of strength, Jason can single-handedly kill Cornhill, a 7th-level low-level imperial spiritual master. In terms of spiritual medicine, Loken it is even more incomparable to him. Okay, let's all go do our own thing. Let's disperse. Jason said. At this moment, suddenly, who is Jace, get out of here. A rumbling roar suddenly sounded over Hongqing today, resounding throughout the sky. At the same time, an indescribably powerful force coercion enveloped the entire Mori family mansion, and it was extremely domineering. Everyone looked up at the sky, and saw an old man with long fiery red hair floating above the Mori family mansion, staring coldly at the people below, with that look in his eyes, extremely arrogant, as if looking at a swarm of ants. Who are you, Your Excellency? Kester took a step forward and said coldly. Who is it? A cold smile appeared on the corner of the old man's mouth, and then the long knife on his waist suddenly unsheathed and slashed down. Boom! The fire spiritual power above the entire sky became violent instantly, and a fiery red sword light was like a dragon coming out of the sea, tearing the sky, roaring, aiming at the mansion of the Mori family, and slashing down. Wherever it went, the air was filled with lightning. It burned and made a rumbling roar. The overwhelming pressure came down, and the terrifying spiritual power alone made everyone below tremble with fear, their whole bodies trembled, and their hearts were filled with terror. They watched helplessly as the sword light roared towards them, unable to move. Get out of the way! A roar burst out from Jason's mouth, and he rose into the sky. The black heavy sword in his hand aimed at the flaming sword and struck hard. Boom! Like a comet hitting the earth, the sword light condensed with powerful fire spiritual power exploded, like a burning flame cloud, engulfing Jason instantly. Pfft! Boom! Under the bombardment of powerful spiritual power, Jason was like a bomb, slamming into the Mori family mansion. Blood splashed out from his mouth like a fountain, and was thrown into the sky, extremely poignant. Master Lord Jace in the distance, Kester and the others looked at this scene, and they all ran forward and roared sadly. Poison! Mud and rocks splashed, the ground exploded, a blue-purple electric light flashed out from the hole, and blood rose from Jason's body. Get away! Jason said indifferently to Loken and the others. His cold eyes were staring at the fiery red-haired old man in the sky, full of murderous intent. Jason's eyes were cold, but his nerves were tense, and he did not dare to relax at all. Just from the vaguely terrifying aura emanating from the opponent's body, Jason could guess that the red-haired old man who suddenly appeared must be an extremely terrifying and powerful man. The opponent's previous blow had seriously injured him. If his body's defense had not been extremely strong, the previous blow alone might have killed him. From the previous blow, Jason understood that in terms of strength, this red-haired strong man was definitely far superior to Cornhill, whom he had killed more than a month ago. This was a formidable opponent. In the sky, two figures, one red and one gray, faced each other in the sky, their cold gazes colliding with each other, and the air was filled with the smell of chilling. The spiritual power in Jason's body continued to circulate, repairing his previously injured body, and the slightest pain made him feel murderous. Isn't that Master Jace? Who is the old man opposite him? Oh my god, it's another 7th level Imperial Spiritual Master. How could this old man face Master Jace? It's too scary, I didn't see it just now. The old man slashed out with his sword, and the fire elements in the entire sky boiled. The old man's roar at Jason in the sky also attracted countless people in Tianhong City to watch. All of them, everyone looked at the two opposing people in the sky, talking with surprise on their faces. Are you Jace? The red-haired old man looked at Jason with a hint of admiration in his eyes. Sure enough, you have 2 brushes and you have such strength at such an age. But unfortunately, today will be your Memorial Day next year. The old man stood proudly in the sky, and his body revealed spiritual power, which was shocking. Really? Jason sneered, who are you? With such arrogance, it's hard to say whose death anniversary will be next year. Haha. In the sky, the red-haired old man laughed, and in the middle of his laughter full of confidence, he said loudly, since I want to kill you, I will let you die clearly. I am the city lord of Blue Moon City in Daluo Province, the patriarch of the Mofa family, the 7th level senior imperial spiritual master Wade Wuch, the Natan family Sharapova, the wife of the leader of the Cornhill clan, is my sister. You killed your brother-in-law, Cornhill. I am here to take your life today. Wade Wuchi's voice sounded loudly in the sky, and the entire he is full of self-confidence. He has this proud capital. With the strength of his 7th level senior imperial spiritual master, there is only one person in the entire Chi'er province who is stronger than him, Lord Aludiba. Apart from Aludiba, he is enough to run rampant throughout the entire Chi'er province. 7th level senior imperial spiritual master, my god. Underneath, Kester and others' hearts instantly rose to their throats, and their expressions were full of worry. As a 7th level emperor, Wade Wuch, he is a high-level imperial spiritual master with a great reputation, and the Chi'er province borders the Doro province. Kester and others have also heard rumors about him. When they think of the fact that Lord Jess is opposite the Doro province, he has been famous for a long time. Strong, Kester and others couldn't help but feel astringent in their mouths. Originally it was just a fight between the Rainbow City family and the Loki family, but now it not only involves the Natan family, but also the Mofa family from the Doro province. For the Mori family, the Natan family families like the Mofa family are extremely powerful beings and cannot be resisted by the Mori family. Above the sky, Jason's heart was tightening. The opponent was powerful, beyond his imagination. With his current strength, he was still sure to kill a 7th level low-level Emperor Spirit Master. A 7th level intermediate Emperor Spirit Master A Master can also fight against Ping, but there is basically no hope for a 7th level Senior Imperial Spiritual Master, and the Mori family's mansion is right below. He couldn't escape yet. However, Jason's heart was extremely peaceful, his eyes were sharp and terrifying, and the spiritual Goddard in his body was constantly running crazily. There was no fear or timidity in his heart, but only a boiling fighting spirit. The reason why a strong person is because he never admits defeat and is indomitable. Two powerful momentums continued to rise in the sky, and the chilling atmosphere almost condensed. Just when the two were about to take action, Your Excellency, a loud voice suddenly sounded in Tianhong City. This is our Rainbow City. As the City Lord of Blue Moon City in the Doro Province, it seems against the rules for you to come to our Rainbow City, to act recklessly. If you leave quickly now, I will not hold you accountable. If you are obsessed and do not realize it, even if you are obsessed with it, you will be punished. Even if I bring the case to His Majesty Peter, I will not give up easily. Outside the Mori family mansion, Lord Odlin stood there, looking coldly at Wade Wooch in the sky, and shouted loudly, while Felt also stood next to him. As the City Lord of Rainbow City, Odlin is the official person in charge sent by the Empire to manage Rainbow City. Now, no matter how powerful the Master is fighting in Rainbow City, he, the City Lord, has the obligation to step in and stop them. Who are you? Wade Wuchi looked at Lord Aldrin below and sneered. With his strength, he could naturally feel that Aldrin, who was a 6th level low-level spiritual master, was not very strong. Old Lord Odlin of Rainbow City. Odlin seemed not to hear the contempt in Wade Wuch's mouth and spoke calmly. Oh, it turns out to be City Lord Odlin. I hope Lord Odlin will forgive me for nagging me this time. I will definitely pay a visit to the City Lord's mansion after I finish handling the matters here. Wade Wuch didn't take Aldrin seriously at all. He said a few polite words dryly, then turned around and stared at Jason, ignoring Aldrin. Meteor and fire rain, condense. Reluctant to say anything, a red light flashed in his eyes. As he waved the sword in his hand, countless rich fire elements instantly condensed into particles of substantial flames, each one as big as a red tennis ball, like the stars in the sky. Like, floating in the sky, constantly spinning around Wade Wooch, deriving Tao and reason. Boy, a trace of ferocity appeared on Wade Wooch's face, and then he swung his fingers fiercely. Whoops! Whoosh whoosh! Countless small fireballs were like rain of fire all over the sky, aiming at Jason and sweeping over the sky, covering the whole world. Wherever the fireball went, the air temperature instantly rose by dozens of degrees, and all the surrounding fireballs, all the elements are absorbed, twisting and rising, giving people a dreamy feeling. Buzz. Facing the opponent's attack, Jason's face showed no worry at all. His eyes flickered, and a pale golden transparent ripple radiated from his body, evolving into a ball with Jason as the center. Chi, chi, chi. After all the fireballs entered the pale golden spherical space, the surface elements were quickly pulled away, and shrunk by half in an instant, but they still shot straight towards Jason in the center like sharp arrows. The fireball in Jason's hand, the black heavy sword, turned into a black light and instantly enveloped his whole body. Boom! 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 The explosions were so dense that they sounded almost simultaneously in the sky above Tianhong City. The smoke and dust in the sky instantly enveloped Jason's whole body. The black smoke billowed like a blooming mushroom, rising in the sky. The rich and violent spiritual elements were like a hurricane coming, causing chaos, forming countless elemental storms, and quickly annihilating them. The power generated by the explosion of thousands of fireballs turned the sky red with blood, like a burning cloud. The terrifying pressure shrouded the entire Tianhong City. Many people were filled with depression and felt extremely uncomfortable. Despicable Father! Lord Jace! Below, Kester and the others cried out in panic. The powerful pressure falling from the sky was like a heavy hammer falling heavily on their hearts, filling their hearts with worry. Such violent energy and powerful pressure were even more terrifying than when Jason and Cornhill fought 2 months ago. In the sky, Wade Wuchie floated there with a smile on his face. This move, Meteor Fire Rain, is his long-famous stunt. With the strength of his 7th-level Senior Imperial Spiritual Master, every fireball attack is comparable to that of a fireball. The attack of a 7th-level Imperial Spiritual Master, with thousands of fireballs attacking at the same time, even a 7th-level Intermediate Imperial Spiritual Master can only bear Zhou Qiuan's hatred under this attack. Judging from the spiritual energy fluctuations emanating from the young man in front of him, it was impossible for that young man to survive the attack of meteors and fire showers based on his strength. However, what made Wade Wuchie curious was that the young man named Jace, the spiritual power emanating from his body does not seem to be too powerful. How could he block himself from the attack and kill his brother-in-law Cornhill before? This made him quite puzzled. Just as Wade Wuchie was thinking in his mind, a golden wave of nothingness suddenly expanded rapidly from the black smoke and enveloped him in it. This as Wade Wuchie showed an extremely horrified look on his face. In his perception, because of the inexplicable golden void ripples, he had reached the level of a 7th-level Senior Imperial Spiritual Master, and his perception was completely integrated with the spiritual power of heaven and earth. He actually lost contact with all the spiritual elements in the world. Is this an elemental barrier? Wade Wuchie, who has reached the 7th level of Senior Imperial Spiritual Master, is naturally very familiar with this situation. His eyes widened with horror and he cried out. A strong sense of crisis rose in his mind. Rise. He instinctively raised his head suddenly, his fiery red hair flying all over the sky, and the huge fire spiritual power accumulated in his body erupted like a volcano. Buzz. At this moment, a void sword wave cut through the sky from the billowing smoke and sank directly into Wade Wuchie's body. At the same time, a black figure, like a ghost, came to Wade Wuchie's body at the same time. Forward. The void sword wave only made Wade Wuchie lose his mind for a moment. However, when he came back to his senses, the black heavy sword in Jason's hand was packed with powerful energy and had already struck down heavily. Poison. Amidst the huge energy explosion, Wade Wuchie only had time to protect himself, and his whole body fell straight into the ground like a cannonball. Rumble. In the loud rumbling sound, mud and rocks flew, rocks collapsed, and a deep pit with a diameter of more than 10 meters suddenly appeared on the ground, which was extremely terrifying. Huh! Above the sky, the smoke and dust dispersed, and Jason stood proudly in the air with his torn clothes. His body was completely black, with blood at the corners of his mouth, and his body was covered with charred wounds. However, his eyes were always like those of an eagle. It is extremely sharp. Wade Wuchie's meteor and fire rain has to be said to be an extremely terrifying spiritual skill. If it is an ordinary 7th-level low-level Emperor Spiritual Master, it will almost certainly die, and even a 7th-level Intermediate Emperor Spiritual Master will not die. It was inevitable that he would be seriously injured. But Wade Wuchie was facing Jason. At this moment, Jason's physical strength had reached the 8th-level intermediate level. The pure wood vitality released by the wood spirit beads and Jason's own 5th-level advanced level under the protection of spiritual power, Jason's defense is enough to compare with some 7th-level intermediate imperial spiritual masters with relatively poor defense. What's more important is that under the control of the metal elemental barrier, the meteor fire released by Wade Wuchie, the power of use fireballs was reduced by at least half. With the super sword skills that Jason had developed in the secret realm of the spirit pool, none of the thousands of fireballs directly hit Jason's body. It was blasted away in advance by Jason's black épée. With the combination of so many factors, although Jason was seriously injured under the attack of meteors and fire showers, it was not life-threatening. And in Wade Wuchie, under his carelessness, he gave the other party a counterattack. Master Jace is great. Oh my god, Wade Wuchie is a 7th-level Senior Imperial Spiritual Master. He was cut into the ground by Master Jace's sword without any ability to resist. We also have such a genius in Rainbow City. Jason was so strong before. With this blow, there were bursts of discussion all over Hongqing today, and their faces were full of excitement. In the face of powerful foreign enemies, all Rainbow City residents regarded Jason, who represented the Mori family, as a local genius in Rainbow City. Seeing Jason so powerful, everyone was filled with joy. Master, he is so powerful. Luoquan also clenched his hands, his eyes extremely excited. Jason's power made his blood boil. It also made him secretly swear that he must practice hard and live up to Master's expectations and become a person as powerful as Master. The whole day in Hong City, there was only Jason in the sky. His expression was still extremely serious, without any hint of joy. He knew that although he had used the power of Soul Shock to sneak attack Wade Wuch, with Wade Wuch's strength as a 7th-level senior Imperial spiritual master, his previous attack could not pose much of a threat to him. Sure enough, boom! A huge roar came and rocks flew out from the deep pit where Wade Wuch was. A fiery red figure suddenly rose from it and floated in front of Jason. No, impossible. You haven't even reached the level of a 7th-level Imperial Spiritual Master. How could you possibly cast an elemental barrier that only an 8th-level Imperial Spiritual Master can cast? Wade Wuchi was in a state of embarrassment, and his fiery red robe was even more. A long gash appeared under the blow of Jason's heavy sword, and there was blood hanging from the corner of his mouth. However, he ignored it and just stared at Jason blankly, with disbelief in his eyes. The elemental barrier does not shock a 7th-level low-level Imperial Spiritual Master like Cornhill, but it is extremely precious to a high-level Imperial Spiritual Master like him. The 7th-level Imperial Spiritual Master and the 8th-level Emperor Spiritual Master, the biggest difference between them is that the 8th-level Emperor Spiritual Master understands the rules of elements and can form an absolute battle space element barrier around him based on his own spiritual power attributes. After the 7th level, every level and every improvement is extremely difficult. Wade Wuchi can be regarded as an amazingly talented person. As early as 10 years ago, he was promoted to the 7th level of Senior Emperor Spiritual Master, but in these 10 years. In the middle of the year, all he could do was to continuously accumulate spiritual power in his body, but he made no progress in understanding the rules of this element. Therefore, after discovering that Jason's strength is that he can cast elemental barriers, he would inevitably lose his composure. Interesting. I didn't expect that I would return the favor to you. Wade Wuchi wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth with a hint of smile on his face. Weird smile and then full of solemnity. Boom! A powerful aura shot up from Wade Wuchi's body, like smoke of energy, billowing out and towering into the sky. When facing Jason at first, Wade Wuch didn't take it seriously. After all, Jason's age was too great. It was too small, so small that it was easy to ignore his strength. However, after the previous round of confrontation, Wade Wuch finally became serious and showed all his strength. The fire spiritual power was crazy. After entering Wade Wuch's body, the air trembled, and a huge fiery red hand appeared faintly in the air, and then it was aimed at Jason and grabbed it hard. Wherever it went, the air exploded and burned. Void element handprint. Feeling the powerful pressure from the giant flaming palm, Jason's expression completely changed. At the Elixir Masters meeting, he fought against Nowitzki, the number 1 master in the Kingdom of Weiss and a 7th level senior spiritual master. Wayne had used this move before. Although Nowitzki was no match for Wayne at the time, the horror of this move still left a great impression on Jason. In his perception, the entire sky was a fiery red, and the surrounding void was blocked. The endless fire elements pressed down, making him feel like he was stuck in a quagmire, making it difficult to move. Under this move, even a real 7th level Emperor Spiritual Master may be seriously injured and killed, even Mo Luo, not to mention his defense, which barely reaches the 7th level Intermediate Emperor Spiritual Master, but is actually a 5th-level high-level sect spirit. Master. No, Jason's expression instantly became extremely ferocious. The spiritual power in his body was running crazily, and his meridians were about to burst due to impact. At the same time, his spiritual consciousness quickly penetrated into the space ring, trying to come up with a magical elixir that can help you in this situation. At this critical moment, suddenly Wade Watch, you kid came to our Chier province to evacuate, you are really looking for death. A sonorous sound like an iron horse exploded in the sky like thunder, and at the same time a golden giant palm flew like lightning from the distant void. The golden palm of more than 10 feet was like a Buddha sitting cross-legged in the void, blooming with thousands of golden lights, covering up the rays of the scorching sun. With a momentum that crushed everything, in full view of the public, it hit the Wade Watch condensation hard. The completed void fire element Madra. Boom, the substantial golden palm collided with the ethereal flame palm, and a huge explosion sounded. In everyone's surprised, stunned, and dull eyes, Wade Watch's fire element handprint with all his strength was like an egg hitting each other. After landing on the stone, it was like a wave hitting a dam, instantly disintegrating and dispersing, turning into the power of fire elements again, and slowly dissipating into the air. But the giant golden hand that suddenly appeared in the distance did not shrink in size at all. After defeating the void fire element hand seal, it aimed at Wade Watch not far away and crushed it fiercely. Who is it in the sky? Wade Watch's eyes widened with an unbelievable expression. He wanted to hide, but he had no time to dodge, so he had to let out a desperate scream. In Wade Watch's horrified eyes, the golden palm that suddenly appeared instantly hit him suspended in the sky, and a huge force that he could not resist came instantly. Wade Watch roared, and the fire spiritual power in his body continued. It erupted, trying to open the golden palm, but it was like a mantis shaking a tree, and the mantis arms were like a chariot, unable to shake the opponent at all. Boom! Amidst the huge roar, Wade Watch, who had been floating in midair with domineering, arrogant attitude, was slapped hard in front of the golden palm like a mosquito under the cattail leaf fan. Go down. Poison! Wade Watch's body swept across 2 buildings, and then landed heavily on the rocky ground. This time, Jason's attack was much more powerful than Jason's attack before. The ground shook, and countless rubbles scattered in all directions. Amidst the rumbling sound, a large number of buildings around him collapsed. Amidst the smoke and dust in the sky, a large number of buildings appeared on the ground. A huge pit with a diameter of about 50 meters and a bottomless depth appeared. Everyone present, including Jason in the sky, looked at all this blankly, not knowing what was happening. Who is it? Who is it? Come out! Before everyone could recover, Wade Watch had already flown up from the pit. He was suspended in the air, looking around in surprise and roaring. Make a sound. At this moment, Wade Watch's face no longer had the overwhelming aura it had before. The robe on his body had already become extremely tattered in the previous bombardment. A large piece of his fiery red hair was broken, and he was covered in blood. His entire face was distorted, extremely embarrassed. It's me, what? Wade Watch, aren't you still convinced? In everyone's astonished eyes, a golden figure instantly appeared in the sky from a distance. This was a burly man more than 2 meters tall, wearing golden armor, standing proudly like a golden god of war. The sky makes people feel depressed just by looking at it. Lord Aludiba. Seeing this burly man, Wade Watch's expression was suddenly startled, and he no longer had the previous arrogant attitude. As a 7th-level senior imperial spiritual master, Wade Watch was only 1 level behind Arudiba, an 8th-level low-level imperial spiritual master. However, in terms of status, the difference between the two was thousands of miles away. Sir Aludiba, this boy violated the laws of the Empire and killed my brother-in-law Cornhill in Rainbow City. I was also entrusted by my sister Sharapova to avenge her husband Cornhill and grandson Ervit. Please also ask Sir Aludiba understands, Wade Watch said aloud, but he still didn't want to give up killing Jason. Understand? I understand nothing. Aluyu only glanced at Wade Wushou, who was standing aside, and said coldly, if it weren't for the sake of Mr. Mu from Daluo province, I would have slapped you to death just now. Why don't you hurry up and get out of here? Lord Aludiba Wade Wuch wanted to say something else. A golden light suddenly flashed in Aludiba's eyes, and he suddenly turned his right hand and impatiently patted the person not far away. Wade Wuch. Boom! As his spiritual power trembled, Wade Wuch was once again blasted away heavily, and blood splashed in the sky. The whole person was in a state of embarrassment. Ahem. A large mouthful of blood spat out from his mouth. Under Aludiba's 2 attacks, his body had already suffered considerable injuries. In front of Aludiba, the long-famous 8th-level Imperial Spiritual Master, Wade Wuchi, the high-level Imperial Spiritual Master, was like an unarmed baby facing a strong soldier, with no chance of winning at all. Go away, Aludiba shouted coldly, never looking at him seriously. Wade Wuch struggled to stabilize his figure in the air, his angry eyes almost bursting with fire. He looked at Jason not far away hatefully, gritted his teeth, and instantly turned into a stream of light and disappeared at the end of the sky. Lord Aludiba, seeing this scene, the people below all shouted loudly. In Chi'er province, Aludiba, as the provincial governor, is the leader of all the god in the hearts of the people. His power has been deeply imprinted in everyone's heart. Aludiba. Jason looked at Aludiba not far away, who had saved him twice, and murmured in his heart. Feeling that the crisis had dissipated, he put a bottle hidden in his left sleeve. The black elixir was quietly sent back to the space ring. The 7th-level Imperial elixir, the Linghuang elixir. This bottle of elixir was prepared by using the 7th-level material rainbow essence exchanged by the Doomsday Adventure Group at the Elixir Master Association when Jason was in the territory of chaos. Its function is to make a 5th-level or above sect spirit. The master was instantly promoted to the 7th-level Imperial Spiritual Master, and remained so for half an hour. However, this Spiritual Emperor potion also has great side effects. After the effect of the drug wears off, because of the extremely expanded spiritual power and spiritual consciousness, it will make people take it. The meridians and internal organs in the patient's body burst because they could not withstand the heavy pressure. The meridians could be severed and all the skills could be lost, or the body could be completely wiped out. However, Jason, whose physical strength had reached the level of an 8th-level intermediate Emperor Spiritual Master, naturally could not. He will be like an ordinary spiritual master. However, after taking the Spirit Emperor's potion, he will inevitably become extremely weak and unable to use any spiritual power in a short period of time, almost becoming a useless person. This bottle of spiritual potion is Jason's biggest reliance on this trip, and it is also Jason's last trump card. Even if Aludiba hadn't appeared before, Jason was confident enough that after taking the Spirit Emperor potion, he would be able to defeat the 7th-level senior. The Imperial Spirit Master's Wade Wuch was killed. You are Jace. After seeing Wade Wuch disappear, Aludiba's stern face filled with a bright smile, and he came towards Jason. And Jason also carefully looked at the middle-aged man in front of him who had saved him twice. His square face gave people a sense of honesty and justice, and his deep, sharp and wise eyes were even more powerful. Let people feel a powerful force from it. It's just that this time Jason still felt a flaw in the spiritual power emanating from Aludiba. The last time he was at the foot of Lingqi Peak, Jason was aware of this, but last time Cornhill much weaker than Wade Wuch, it doesn't require Aludiba to exert much effort at all, so it doesn't feel obvious. This time, Wade Wuch's strength is strong, and Jason's strength has also improved a lot, so as a powerful elixir Jason's feeling was extremely clear. That's me. Thank you for your previous life-saving grace. Jason nodded, regardless of whether he needed Aludiba's help or not. At least twice. They all solved the problem for themselves. Haha, thank you. Your Excellency is from our Chi'er province. That Wade Wuchi dares to come to my Chi'er province to evacuate the wilderness is asking for his own death. Boy, if anything happens in the future, you can come to the provincial capital to find me. If I can help, I will definitely help. Arudaba laughed heartily. In Chiir province, Arudaba is well known as a protector of shortcomings. If any outsider dares to retreat in Chiir province, as long as the Phil family knows about it, he will definitely be killed. There is no good fruit to eat. Just like the treasure land of Lingqi's secret realm, all the surrounding provinces wanted to get a share of the pie. After Aludaba took charge of Chiir province, he immediately went to the imperial capital to argue in front of His Majesty Peter. Only then did he save it. Every time the Lingqi secret realm is opened, there are 100 places in total, and Chiir province has at least half of them. All of this is the credit of Aludaba. Okay, let's go down. Well, being watched is not my hobby, haha. Laughing loudly, Aludaba and Jason fell into the Mori family's mansion together. People who are not familiar with Arudaba may think that he is extremely serious, but in fact he is an extremely forthright person who is very easy to get along with. Master, are you okay? Seeing Jason falling from the sky, Loken and others hurried forward with worries on their faces. Of course it's okay. Jason smiled. The previous battle made him look quite embarrassed, but in fact, he was not seriously injured. Seeing Loken on the side, he had been carrying Aludaba, who was smiling, suddenly had a look of surprise on his face. If I read it correctly, you should be a low-level spiritual master named Leosi, right? How old are you this year? Aludaba looked at Jason, then at Luoquan, and said in a condensed voice. Lord Aludaba, I am Luoquan, I am 18 this year. For Arudaba, the spiritual pillar of Chiir province, Loken was still quite nervous and said hurriedly. 18, Tisk Tsk, our Chiir province is indeed full of talented people. Aludaba was stunned at first, and then sighed. Everyone says that the number one genius in Chiir province is Kiros from my File family. Now compared with the two of them, Kiros is still far behind. That boy is usually very arrogant. If he sees the two of you, let's see if he will be so arrogant in the future. Well, I don't dare to compare with Master Kiros. Loken said hurriedly. Haha, don't be humble. When that kid Kiros was promoted to the 6th level of low-level spiritual master, he was already 21 years old. Compared with the two of them, he was far behind. It seems that this time the Empire competition will be held. My province of Chiir is expected to be ranked higher in the rankings. Haha. Aludaba expressed sincere emotion. When he received the news, Aludaba still felt a little suspicious about Jason's killing of Cornhill, but he had seen Jason fighting Wade Wetch from a distance before. He understood in his heart that although the spiritual power fluctuations in this young boy were not strong, he did have the combat power of a 7th-level Imperial Spiritual Master. In Aludaba and Loku, while they were chatting, Kester and others from the Mori family stood motionless, not daring to express their anger. Whether it is power or strength, the difference between the Mori family and the Phil family is too far. They are not on the same level at all. In front of Aludaba, Kester was not even qualified to speak. Aludaba, what wind brought you here? At this moment, an old voice suddenly sounded outside the courtyard. Then Lord Odlin and Feld walked into the courtyard under the leadership of a guard from the Mori family. Haha, Mr. Odlin, the Rainbow City you manage has produced such two geniuses, why don't I come over and see for myself? Aludaba said with a smile. Aludaba, the Nanatan family has gone too far. You have to handle today's matter properly. Odlin said angrily. The smile on Aludaba's face suddenly faded, and he said seriously, even if the old man doesn't talk about it, I will handle it. Collude with outsiders to come to Chiir. With the province withdrawing from the countryside, the Nanatan family is simply seeking death. Listening to Lord Odlin's unceremonious reply to Aludaba, Kester and others were stunned on the spot. They are not fools, and they can naturally feel something is wrong. In terms of status, Aludaba is the governor of Chiir province, and Odlin is just the city lord of Rainbow City. In terms of strength, Aludaba is the 8th-level governor. A low-level imperial spiritual master, while Odlin is only a 6th level low-level spiritual master. There is a huge difference between the two. But when Lord Odlin talked with Lord Aludiba, he was not polite at all. And Lord Aludiba didn't take it seriously. From this, we can know that Lord Odlin's background must not be simple. In the past 2 years since Lord Odlin took office, he has always behaved himself without any strong points. Although Kester and others showed enough respect for him, they did not pay too much attention to him. Now that I think about it, this Otterin Lin's identity is definitely not ordinary. Aludiba, come and sit in my house. Odlin invited. Forget it, the appearance of the secret realm of Lingqi is too important. I took the time to come here today and will go back soon. Aludiba shook his head and said, it will be my 50th birthday in a few days. Imperial Thai Prince Leo will also come, please remember to come and support him. Aldrin nodded and said, since you invited me, I will definitely go. That's right. Aludiba set his sights again. Jason and others said, then the Mori family will also come together. Don't forget. Me, our Mori family? Kester was so excited that he almost couldn't speak. What? Is there any problem? Aludiba asked. No, no. Mr. Aludiba, I will definitely go next time. Kester's face was full of excitement. With Aludiba's status, the Mori family is not qualified to go. Now, Aludiba actually took the initiative to invite, which really made Kester too excited. Then it's settled. Aludiba nodded. Then the whole person rose into the air and quickly disappeared at the end of the sky. Feeling the spiritual power released by Aludiba, Jason, who had been observing from the side, the light in his eyes flashed, and he couldn't help but secretly said, it seems that Aludiba does have something wrong with his spiritual power. If there is a chance, I can take advantage of this birthday to find a way to cure him, which can be regarded as repayment. Thank you for his repeated life-saving grace. Jason made up his mind. After Aludiba left, Odlin set his sights on the Mori family. Lokun, when did you advance to the 6th level of low-level spiritual master? Falit walked up with a face full of surprise, and then gave Luokuan a hard punch. Bang! In the crisp impact sound, Lokun's figure only swayed slightly, with no expression on his face. When he first met Falit, Jason was still a little surprised that Falit, a girl who was only 17 years old, was a 5th level low-level sect spiritual master. Now that a year has passed, Falit Lu Te has also made rapid progress. He has already been promoted to the 5th level intermediate sect spiritual master and is about to break through to the 5th level senior sect spiritual master. At the 5th level, he can still maintain a speed of at least 1 level a year. If ordinary elixir masters knew about it, they would be jealous already. However, Lokun, who was still a lower level than Falit at that time, has now left him far behind and moved towards a higher level. The bodies of wood spirits are geniuses. They are natural spiritual masters, and their cultivation speed is much faster than ordinary spiritual masters. With the help of Jason, the 9th level elixir master in his previous life, Luo Kuan, the promotion speed can only be expressed in 2 words, terrifying. I am afraid that even the peerless geniuses hidden in the 4 great empires such as the Salem Empire cannot compare with the speed of cultivation of Lokun, who has completely cured his physical defects. There are many reasons why a genius can advance quickly. One is talent or ability to comprehend, the second is physical fitness, that is, physical aptitude, and the third is due to various external factors. The first 2 days can be said to be innate, and the third factor includes the teacher, the technique, and the conditions. However, the one who has the deepest influence on a spiritual master is the spiritual medicine master. As long as a powerful elixir master spends all his efforts cultivating you and preparing various elixir potions for you that you need during your cultivation, your promotion speed will definitely be much faster than that of spiritual masters with the same qualifications. Even if it is the 2 natural factors in front, some powerful elixir masters have the ability to change it into what? Your understanding is not high? It's okay, take a bottle of enlightenment potion and drink it to ensure that your understanding rises sharply. What? Your physical aptitude is not good? What does this mean? There are several bottles of regeneration potion here. Drink one bottle every day and be reborn several times. You will not believe that your physical qualifications will not improve. The reason why the spiritual medicine master has a high status on the Stern continent is precisely because of this. He can easily change a person's destiny. With Jason's help, Loken can be said to be like a fish diving into the deep sea and an eagle roaring into the sky. From the moment he became Jason's apprentice, his future destiny was destined to be different. Looking at Felt and Loken, who were having fun on the side, Aldrin frowned and moved his lips, wanting to say something, but in the end he didn't say anything. Clan Chief Kester, Aldrin said to Kester with a smile, Clan Chief Eludiba's birthday is in 15 days, don't forget it then. Kester nodded heavily. Even if he wanted to forget Eludiba's birthday, he would not dare to forget it. Lord of Odland City Eludiba, what happened when he was promoted? At this moment, Jason suddenly said. What happened? Odland couldn't help but looked at Jason. Although he didn't understand the purpose of Jason asking this, he still said out loud, Clan Eludiba was promoted to the 8th level Emperor Spiritual Master. When he was a child, he was attacked by spiritual energy once, and it was not until his second promotion that he succeeded. However, because of the first spiritual energy backlash, his body has been having some problems, so he has not been able to break through over the years. Intermediate Imperial Spiritual Master. Listen to Odlin's story. Jason nodded thoughtfully. The backlash of spiritual power is equivalent to going crazy. This is what spiritual masters hate to encounter most. If the situation is mild, it is fine. If it is serious, it will have a great impact on future promotions. Many people who were once geniuses, it was ruined by this. After asking this question, Jason had already got the information he needed, so he was thinking on the side and stopped talking. Kester and the Lord of Aldrin also chatted briefly for a while. That is, he said goodbye and left. When sending Lord Aldrin away, Kester was extremely enthusiastic. He also knew that if it weren't for Aldlin's words in front of Eludiba, the Mori family would have just left. The pursuit of Loki family members in the city is very likely to cause big trouble. The city lord arranged by the Empire seems to have no effect in normal times, but in certain special times, it still has a certain influence. Back to in the room, the first thing Jason did was to sit cross-legged and recuperate. Although the injuries he suffered in the previous battle with Wade Wooch were not too serious, if they were not treated in time, they would also cause serious damage to the body. It brought considerable harm. While Jason was practicing, Kester, who received the invitation from Eludiba, was extremely excited and full of troubles. As a member of the Chi'er province, Rainbow City, the actual person in power, since he has received an invitation to celebrate his birthday as a provincial governor, a gift is indispensable. However, Kester thought about it and finally found out that with the strength of his family, he could not come up with a suitable gift, which made Kester extremely depressed. The person who controls a city can't even give out a decent gift. This also shows how seriously the Mori family's power and status in Tianhong City have declined over the years. For several days in a row, Kester couldn't think about food or tea. He was so worried that 2 hairs turned white. In the end, he had no choice but to think about Jason. Chief Kester, Master Jace asked you to go to his room. Just when Kester was thinking about Jason, a servant happened to come to Kester's room and gave Jason the order. Command. Master Jace, do you have a problem with me? Kester almost sprinted all the way to Jason's room, opened the door, and spoke respectfully. Chief Kester, sit down. After asking Kester to sit down, Jason took out a piece of paper, and the paper was densely filled with various materials. Chief Kester, I hope you can find all the materials on this piece of paper for me as soon as possible. Some of the materials may not be easy to find and will require a certain amount of effort on your part. However, within 3 days at most, I hope these materials can appear on my desk. If there is anything you don't understand, just ask Master Locke ** materials. Kester was stunned, and then took the white paper from Jason's hand. When I came over, there were a lot of materials on it, and there were dozens of them densely packed. Kester was not an elixir expert, so he only recognized a few of them, but none of them were particularly precious. Is Master Jace going to prepare some magical potion again? Kester was confused and solemnly took the white paper into his arms. Although Jason had never prepared elixirs in front of Kester and others, he allowed Master Locke to master 3 5th-level high-grade elixirs within a few hours, becoming a 5th-level senior elixir master, and also prepared what kind of wood spirit pool made Luoquin advance from the 5th-level low-level sect spiritual master to the 6th-level low-level spiritual master. Coupled with the powerful elixirs that Loken and Jason kept taking out on the competition stage, all these factors implicitly showed Jason's powerful attainments in elixirs. After handing the blank paper to Kester, Jason had nothing to do. However, after Kester took the material, he did not leave in time. Instead, he sat on the chair in front of Jason with a look on his face. Hesitate. What? Chief Kester, do you have anything else to do? Jason couldn't help but say something. Old Kester blushed and said, That's it, Master Jace. It will be Master Elutiba's birthday not long after, but our Mori family's gift is not ready yet at this point. Kaisest lowered his head in embarrassment, and then cast his hopeful gaze on Jason. Haha, it turns out it's because of this. Jason couldn't help laughing, but it made Kester in front of him confused. Chief Kester, don't worry about the gift from the Mori family. The materials I asked you to prepare will be a congratulatory gift to Lord Elutiba when the time comes. You only need to give me these materials. Just collect them all as quickly as possible. Yes, I'll go right now. Kester suddenly jumped up from the chair, and then rushed out of Jason's room. In the room, when he was at the door, he stopped hurriedly and bowed deeply to Jason. Then please leave it to Lord Jesse *. After saying this, Kester's figure disappeared in Jason's sight. Seeing Kester's performance, Jason couldn't help but smile and shook his head. This Kester was also. How did he know that Kester had been so worried about giving gifts these days that his hair had turned gray, and now he got it? Jason answered in the affirmative, and couldn't help but feel happy in his heart. After Kester left Jason's room, he first summoned Hanos, the head butler of the Mori family, and then wrote a new list, instructing him to make the most of the orders as quickly as possible according to the list. The materials found in the family and Rainbow City were purchased. After doing all this, Kester came to Master Locke's room with the list. Kester entered Locke's room, and before Locke could say anything, he handed over the single half in his hand. Master Locke, this list was given to me by Lord Jess before, saying it was a gift prepared for Lord Elutiba's birthday. Please show me what kind of elixir is prepared in this *. Chief Kester handed the list to Locke and looked at him expectantly. After hearing Kester's words, Master Locke carefully took the order, as if holding an extremely precious treasure, with respect on his face. After experiencing so many things, for Locke, everything Jason has is extremely precious and requires him to continue to learn. Locke looked carefully at the materials on the list one by one, but he couldn't help but frown. All of the dozens of materials above are quite common materials. Even some of the rarer materials are only because they are not available in large quantities on the Stern continent, not because of their powerful effects. Seems rare. How is it? Kester asked from the side. Chief Kester. Locke frowned and said, I know all these materials. They are all quite simple elixir materials, which are needed to prepare some low-level elixirs. It's just that the materials here there are too many, and they are too common. They are used in almost many low-level elixirs, so I don't know what Master Jace wants to prepare. They are all extremely common materials used to prepare low-level elixirs. It's a spiritual potion? Impossible? Chief Kester couldn't help but said, Master Jess has said that the spiritual potion prepared from these materials is for Master Eludiba's birthday, so it shouldn't be, is it bad? There was an expression of disbelief on Kester's face. The gift that Master Jace gave to Master Eludiba was definitely not a simple elixir. After all, it was given by Jace to Loken to cure his illness. The spiritual potions are all 6th-level high-grade wood-based vitality potions. Locke shook his head, with confusion on his face. I don't know about this. The materials listed above are all low-level materials. Even the most precious ones can only be used at most. It's just a 5th-level elixir prepared. Locke also had some doubts in his heart, and added, but Lord Jace's thoughts are not something we can guess. Kester took the order, nodded and said, say yes, we just need to prepare the materials for Master Jace. We will know what kind of elixir we can prepare at the birthday banquet. Without getting the answer from Master Locke, Kester had no more answers. Thinking about it, he tried his best to buy the materials on the list Jason gave him. Since some of the materials inside were relatively scarce, Kester specially sent Yen Lai to travel overnight to a nearby city to purchase them. Finally, on the evening of the next day, Kester delivered all the materials to Jason's room. After closing the door, Jason looked at the densely packed materials on the table in front of him, with a look of satisfaction on his face. Jason was naturally very familiar with these elixir materials. The 3 days he gave Kester were not just random words, but based on simple calculations. After all, there were 2 types that needed to be purchased in other cities. Unexpectedly, Kester only took 2 days to gather all the materials, which is enough to show the importance Kester attaches to it. After placing all the materials neatly, Jason flicked his left hand, and a large number of preparation utensils appeared on the experimental table. Various beakers, test tubes, preparation flasks, Erlenmeyer flasks, burettes and other instruments shining with crystal purple light shine with a purple halo under the light, giving people a gorgeous feeling. What Jason wanted to prepare this time was a 3rd-grade high-grade active potion, a 4th-grade high-grade softening potion, and a 5th-grade high-grade fusion potion. The backlash of spiritual power is a very special behavior. It is caused by errors when the spiritual power is running in the body, resulting in the non-integration of the meridians of the body and the mutual rejection. However, these 3 spiritual potions prepared by Jason can extremely weaken or even eliminate the discomfort caused by the backlash of spiritual power. The 3rd-level high-grade activating potion can activate all the meridians and spiritual power in the spiritual master's body and enhance the activity between them. It is effective for spiritual masters of any level, but as the level of the spiritual master increases, the effects are just different from each other. It's like the same bottle of 3rd-level high-grade active potion can make all the spiritual power and meridians in a 3rd-level spiritual master's body in an extremely active state, but for an 8th-level imperial spiritual master, it can only activate part of the spiritual energy and meridians, and the activity level is not too high. The 4th-level high-grade softening potion can soften the spiritual power and meridians. Each kind of spiritual power has its own characteristics. The metal system is sharp and masculine, the fire system is violent and passionate, the ethereal, easygoing nature of the wind system, etc. Generally speaking, the more violent the spiritual power attribute is, the easier it is to go crazy and cause backlash. Therefore, among the spiritual masters whose spiritual power backfires, the majority are from the metal and fire systems, while those from the water and wood systems are generally much less likely to have their spiritual power backfire. This 4th-level high-quality softening potion can make spiritual power of any attribute become as gentle as water-based spiritual power. As for the 5th-level high-grade fusion potion, its function is to integrate the spiritual power, meridians, and body of a spiritual master more harmoniously, allowing the spiritual master to better control his spiritual power. The combination of these 3 spiritual potions first makes the spiritual power and meridians active, then softens them, and finally fuses them together. One link after another, step after step, can make a person suffer from the backlash of spiritual power. The spiritual master who caused the defect between body and spiritual power can completely eliminate the consequences of the backlash of spiritual power. But having said that, you must not only have a 5th level elixir master to come, but a Ludiba, an 8th level low-level imperial spiritual master, can completely heal the injuries caused by the backlash of spiritual power. Spiritual medicine is an extremely rigorous subject, in which various types are interconnected, but each has its own unique system. Different people prepare the same medicine, the degree of fusion of the medicinal properties is different, and the content of the medicine is different. When people take it, the results will be very different. It doesn't mean that you can succeed simply by copying it mechanically. Just like the previous 3 spiritual potions, Jason made the decision after carefully observing his 2 encounters with Eludiba and the distribution of spiritual power from him. Even if the principle is told to another elixir in its entirety, that elixir cannot cure Eludiba's spiritual backlash by preparing the same elixir, because he cannot judge the properties of the 3rd level high-grade active elixir. How strong, how high the concentration of the medicinal content must be, and under the same circumstances, how much dosage of the 4th level high-grade softening potion can soften all the spiritual power in the body of an 8th level low-level imperial spiritual master like Eludiba. All of this requires extremely strong computing power and knowledge of elixirs to be able to judge. Looking at the large amount of elixir materials and preparation utensils in front of him, Jason continued to calculate the purity, content and medicinal properties of the 3 elixirs that should be prepared based on the results of observations in his memories. That night, the lights in Jason's room were brightly lit, and there were still subtle popping sounds from time to time. When it was dawn, everything stopped. When Kester came to Jason's room after dawn, the original large amount of materials in the entire room had long since disappeared, leaving only the material residue on the floor. After seeing Kester, Jason just ordered Kester to clean up all the material residues, then sat cross-legged and stopped talking. Although Kester wanted to know what kind of elixir Jason prepared for Eludiba, seeing that Jason did not take the initiative to talk about it, he was curious and knew the rules and did not ask. Seeing Eludiba's birthday approaching day by day, Kester got into the carriage after preparing everything and drove slowly towards Chien City, the provincial capital of Chi'er province. This time, only 4 people from the Mori family went to the provincial capital: Jason, Kester, Loken and Locke. As for the rest, they all stayed behind in Rainbow City. Originally, Kester wanted to go with Lord Odlin and his party, but when they arrived at the gate of the Lord's mansion, he learned from the guard that Lord Odlin and Fellet had already sat down 2 days ago. The carriage went to Red Flame City, and Kester and others had to go alone. Along the way, every time the convoy that Jason and others were in arrived at a city, they did not stop much, but hurried on, and finally arrived at the provincial capital Chien City on the day before Eludiba's birthday. As the provincial capital of Chi'er province, Chien City is a huge city with an extremely magnificent area. The city lives up to its name. When viewed from a distance, the entire city looks red. The outermost city wall is made of an extremely hard material. Made of lava stone, the city wall is dozens of feet high, just like a giant beast lying here, giving people a majestic feeling. After rebirth, Jason has seen many large cities, but in Jason's heart, except for the Chaos City in the territory of Chaos, which is grander and larger than the Red Flame City, no matter it is Colton, the royal city of the Kingdom of Orlando, or Carmela, the royal city of the Eastern Kingdom, cannot compare with this Red Flame City. The provincial capital of a province of the 4 empires is more spectacular than the royal city of the top kingdom in the northwest countries, which is enough to illustrate the strength and power of the 4 empires. Because of Eludiba's birthday, the whole Chien City was extremely popular. Along the way, a large number of pedestrians were walking through the wide streets. There were busy cars and people coming and going. Even the hotels in the city were almost full, filled with congratulatory people from all over. Jason and the others searched for a long time in the city, and finally found a hotel to stay in. Early the next morning, under the guidance of the waiter, Jason and others walked towards the Phil family's mansion. However, in front of the Phil family's mansion, Jason and others were stopped by the servants checking at the door. The Mori family? Never heard of it. There doesn't seem to be your Mori family's name on the guest list. Where are your invitations? At the gate, a servant in a navy robe looked at Jason coldly. He waited for someone to speak, with extreme suspicion in his eyes. Today is the birthday of Patriarch Eludiba. The people who came to congratulate came from all over the empire, and they were all very important figures. These few servants were fortunate enough to be selected and placed in the being on duty at the gate reflects the family's trust in him. Even if they borrow 10 of their courage, they would not dare to be disrespectful to the guests who came to the banquet. But it is precisely because of this that these servants are strict and serious. As the governor of Chiur province and the head of the Phil family, Eludiba has a high status. In addition to the dignitaries and celebrities who have been invited, there are also many local families in Chiur province who are trying their best to sneak in. During the banquet, many of the people who hang out here are celebrities from the empire and come from major families in the empire. For these ordinary families, just casually climbing into one of them is enough to benefit them a lot. However, in the entire Chiur province, only the 4 families with 7th-level imperial spiritual masters were eligible to be invited. Originally, the Natan family, as the rulers of Tianluo City, also had the qualifications to participate in the banquet, but because of Cohen with the fall of Hill and the incident with Wade Wuj, the Phil family did not invite the Natan family. In other words, there are only 4 families in the entire Chiur province that are qualified to enter the banquet hall. As for the Mori family in Tianhong City, these servants have never heard of it. In addition, although Kester is the actual leader of Rainbow City, he is nothing in front of the Phil family. Therefore, he appears extremely trepidatious in front of his servants, which inevitably makes him look a bit old-fashioned. Invitation? Mr. Jess, this after hearing the words of the servant opposite, Kester couldn't help being stunned. He couldn't help but glance at Locke and others aside, and finally fell on Jason. He seemed a little at a loss. When Lord Eludiba invited the Mori family, he only said it verbally and did not give him any invitations or letters. Now that the servant wants an invitation, how can Kester get it? If there is no invitation, please get out of the way and don't block the way of the distinguished guests behind you. Several servants glanced at everyone and expelled them unceremoniously. They were just a little suspicious at first, but when they saw Kester's after the expression, he was completely sure. From the experience of being on duty at the door these 2 days, this servant has already learned how to read people. Just like the group of people in front of me, they look unfamiliar and don't have any strong aura, which shows that they have no status and the clothes they wear are not luxurious. Although they are quite precious compared with ordinary people, but after meeting them in these 2 days, in the eyes of several servants who were used to luxurious clothes, it seemed a bit unsatisfactory. Especially one of the 2 teenagers in the crowd was actually wearing a blue-gray linen robe. Oh my God, does anyone else wear linen robes at banquets these days? They couldn't even bring out a decent piece of clothing, which meant they didn't have much money. The most important thing is their expressions. When they came over, they all looked a little scared and cautious. When questioned by me, they did not dare to say anything. They have no status and no money. What are they doing here? Need more to say? During the past 2 days of duty, they had seen too many such people. My name is Jesse. We are members of the Mori family in Rainbow City. We were personally invited by the Eludiba chief to attend the birthday party. Seeing Kester's eyes pleading for help, Jason stepped forward and came out. Voice. Just go away if I ask you to go away. What if you stand here and block other guests? A servant saw that Kester and the others were still not leaving. His face suddenly looked a little unhappy and he spoke unceremoniously. Said, today is the birthday of the Patriarch of Eludiba. Only people with status in the empire can enter the mansion. If you are here to curry favor with the Patriarch, I advise you not to waste your efforts. You have come here to think about it these 2 days. You are not the only small family that wants to curry favor with the patriarch. Jason almost choked to death on his saliva. He wanted to defend himself, but when he saw the young servant's determined expression, Jason knew that there was no use in defending himself, because in the eyes of this young servant, he had become an unpopular person. In the past, Jason would have probably turned around and left. There was no point in getting into trouble with a few young servants anyway, and he had always disliked attending banquets, but that was not the case this time. Jason came here mainly to let Mori, the family, can establish a certain relationship with the Phil family in the Chi'er province and have a certain reputation. When they leave the Salem Empire in the future, the Mori family will also have a backer to prevent them from suddenly appearing. The strong will be at a loss. Moreover, Jason's participation in Elutiba's birthday this time was also to repay Elutiba's previous favors. Jason did not want to wait until he left Chi'er province to still owe other people's favors. Lokun at this moment, a sweet voice like wind chimes sounded in everyone's ears. Everyone turned their heads and saw Falut walking from a distance with a face full of surprise, and beside him, Lord Odlin walked over while chatting and laughing with a middle-aged man with long maroon hair. This is a middle-aged man with an extremely gentle expression, with a pair of blue pupils, and on his forehead and above his eyebrows, there are 2 red pills. His smile is peaceful, giving people a gentle and elegant feeling. Chief Kester, Jace, how come it's such a coincidence? City Lord Aldrin said with a smile. It has to be said that it is a coincidence that people from the same city can meet each other at the door after walking separately. Thing. Lord Odlin. Kester saw Odlin, and a smile suddenly appeared on his face. Although he didn't know Odlin's true identity, he also knew that it was definitely not simple, and when Mr. Ba invited them, they also invited them together. Since Lord Odlin is here, there should be no problem entering the banquet hall. Moo, this is the Kester clan leader of the Mori family in Rainbow City, and the person in front of him is the Jace I told you about. He is young, but his strength has already reached the 7th level, can be said to be against the sky, and the young man next to him is Lokun of the Mori family. He is only 19 years old this year and has also reached the level of a 6th level low-level spiritual master. Today's young people cannot underestimate him. Oh. Odlin looked quite emotional. Hello. The middle-aged man nodded to Jason and the others with a smile. His eyes specifically stayed on Jason and Lokun for a while. I have to say that Jason's strength and Lokun's among his peers, Kun's level is enough to be regarded as an incomparable genius. Jason also nodded as a greeting. Although the middle-aged man had restrained his spiritual power, Jason's keen intuition could still tell that this middle-aged man was definitely not simple. By the way, Jace, what are you all doing standing at the door? Why don't you enter the banquet hall? Lord Odlin frowned and said in confusion, You are the guests personally invited by the Arutiba Patriarch. I think Chief Arutiba will be very happy to know about your coming. This, Jace didn't say anything, just smiled helplessly. With this helpless look in his eyes, how could Lord Aldrin not understand? Have you been blocked outside? City Lord Odlin looked at the servants at the door with a smile. Although his face was full of smiles, the servants opposite him suddenly appeared. Breaks of cold sweat. Sir, we really don't know that these gentlemen know you. The servants were really scared out of their wits. They never thought that these rustic-looking, the country bumpkin was actually a guest personally invited by the leader of Arutiba. Although these servants didn't know Odlin, they knew the middle-aged man next to Odlin very well. He was the good brother of Patriarch Elutiba, Doro. Mr. Mu, the governor of the province. What a hell, who is Mr. Mu? That was an 8th-level intermediate imperial spiritual master. In terms of strength, he was a bit stronger than the clan leader. He was also a famous alchemist master in the empire. Although he looked extremely gentle, his status in the empire was extremely high. But this old man was able to chat and laugh with Mr. Mu. So what was the identity of this old man? There was naturally no lie in what he said. In other words, these country bumpkin-like figures in front of him were really invited by the patriarch himself. Gentlemen, I'm really sorry just now. We didn't know that you were the patriarch. The distinguished guests personally invited by the Lord are those of us who have no eyes and have offended several people. Our sins deserve death, our sins deserve death, several servants stammered. Cold sweat flowed down their backs like rain. Several servants' faces were pale. When they looked at Jace, there was a hint of begging for mercy in their eyes. They knew that if the other party held a grudge and said a few words casually in front of the Arutuba chief, they would not be able to bear the consequences and walk away. It's nothing, but you have to know it carefully next time. Jason naturally couldn't be as knowledgeable as a few servants, so he just smiled and revealed the matter. Lord Odlin, let's go in together. Lord Dellen didn't say much, and everyone immediately entered the banquet hall together. The banquet hall was already densely packed with people. A large number of beautiful maids were shuttled among the crowd with plates in their hands, like butterflies dancing, bringing incomparable vitality to the hall. People gathered together in twos and threes, holding wine glasses, chatting, and waiting for the appearance of the protagonist who celebrated today's birthday later. Master Moo is here. As soon as Jason and others entered the hall, they attracted the attention of some guests in the hall. After seeing Mr. Moo walking at the front, everyone put down their wine glasses and came forward to greet him with smiles on their faces. These guests were all dressed in gold and silver, and their clothes were extremely luxurious. Many of them revealed traces of obscure tyrannical spiritual power from time to time, indicating their strong strength. However, in front of Mr. Moo, the governor of Daluo province, they all showed no airs and showed respect on their faces. Kester, who came in behind Mr. Moo, even saw the 4 famous 7th-level imperial spiritual masters from Chi'er province in the crowd. For Kester, 7th-level imperial spiritual masters already need to be looked up to. However, at this time, these 4 7th-level imperial spiritual masters were just behind the crowd. They had no friendship with Mr. Moo from Daluo province, so they could only stand there and watch. While Moo was dealing with such a large group of people, Jason and Odlin came to a corner of the hall and sat down, looking at the bustling hall and slowly tasting the desserts on the table. At first, Jason and the others attracted a lot of attention because they came in with Moo. Now, after seeing them sitting down in the corner and Mr. Moo not reacting at all, these people all turned to Jason. They regarded it as ordinary guests who happened to come in with Moo, so they didn't pay much attention. Quietly looking at the hall with people coming and going, Jason glanced at City Lord Odlin, who was chatting quite speculatively with the Kester clan leader, but he felt extremely curious about Odlin's low profile. Based on such long-term contact, Jason could clearly tell that Odlin's status must be very high in the Salem Empire. This was reflected in the attitudes of Elutiba and Moo, the 2 provincial governors of the Salem Empire. It can be seen that Odlin has concealed himself extremely thoroughly. Except for provincial governors like Elutiba and Moo, 8th-level imperial spiritual masters, and even 7th-level people like Wade Wuchi and Cornhill. The imperial spirit master also had no idea, and the behavior of everyone in the hall at this moment reflected this very well. Odlin was just like an ordinary old man, sitting there quietly, not revealing anything. If the Gers family where Odlin belonged was the same as the 4 founding families of the Lingdo Empire in later generations, then this Gura's family should definitely be a behemoth. This thought only circulated in Jason's mind for a moment, and then disappeared. For Jason, no matter what the identity of Odlin was, it had nothing to do with him. Lord Elutiba has appeared. Just as Jason was thinking about it, there was a sudden noise in the hall. Jason raised his eyes and saw Elutiba wearing a gold-trimmed ceremonial robe and walking in from outside the hall with dignity. Following him were 2 young girls, a man and a woman. The young man was naked. Known as the #1 genius in Ershing province, Jason had met Kiros in the secret realm of Lingqi. The girl was also following Kiros when he was in the secret realm of Lingqi, and Jason also had some influence. Arutaba is the protagonist of today's birthday. As soon as he appeared, the atmosphere in the entire hall suddenly reached a climax. At this moment, he walked into the hall, and a group of guests immediately greeted him like stars. Haha, thank you all for coming to my banquet today. Enjoy it to your heart's content and don't be restrained. Elutiba smiled and greeted everyone one by one. Everyone smiled and said yes, but they still didn't let go completely in front of Elutiba. Elutiba is a rather low-key person. Originally, he did not want to hold today's birthday party, but as a public figure and the head of the Phil family many times, as powerful as he is, he can't help himself. Everyone present today, except for a few families from Chi'er province, the rest are from nearby provinces, and they are all families who have a very good relationship with the Phil family. Haha, Moo, I didn't expect you to come here too. Elutiba said with a smile. Can I not come over to your guy's birthday? Haha, Mr. Moo also laughed out loud. After chatting for a while, the two of them walked towards where Jason and others were. Mr. Odlin, welcome to my banquet. Elutiba smiled. If I dare to be absent from the governor's banquet, then I will not be able to continue my position as Lord of Rainbow City. Odlin's words immediately made everyone present laugh. However, when everyone was laughing, they were all squinting their eyes to guess the identity of the city lord of Aldrin. The Arutaba chief came to greet him in person. He definitely shouldn't be as simple as a small city lord. Chief Kester, Jace, welcome everyone from the Mori family. Then, Elutiba turned his attention to Jason and others beside him. Kester stood up hurriedly, his face flushed with excitement, and said excitedly, "It is the Mori family's blessing to be able to attend Master Elutiba's banquet." Elutiba smiled and looked at the person behind him. Kiros said, "Kiros, look at Jace and Loken. They are not that old, but their strength is no worse than yours. Others say you are the #1 genius in our Chi'er province." I think so. Not necessarily, remember not to be proud. Father, the child understands. Kiros nodded, his tone seemed extremely sincere, but there was a hint of unyieldingness in his eyes. The Mori family? What kind of family is this? Everyone on the side couldn't help but be curious, but after learning that it was just a small family in Rainbow City, they were a little confused. Hey, you guy, why didn't I see your figure when I was in the secret realm of Lingqi? By the way, I heard that you killed the Cornhill patriarch of the Natan family. He was a dignified man. 7th level low-level Imperial Spiritual Master, how did your strength advance so quickly? Yelena, the girl who was following Kiros, shouted loudly to Jason with wide eyes. And you are a pervert. You are only 19 today, the same age as me, but you are already a 6th level spiritual master. Even my brother only broke through to the 6th level when he was 21. Low-level spiritual master, I really don't know how you practice. Yelena then shouted to Luokuan. Luokuan's face suddenly showed a hint of embarrassment. TCH, that's just because you have poor talent. What's wrong? Are you jealous? Falut, who was standing next to Loken, retorted for fear that Loken would be wronged. What? Is this the guy who killed Patriarch Cornhill of the Natan family? Let me tell you, no wonder Tianluo City has been in chaos recently, and the Natan family can't control the situation at all. Isn't it? This young man looks like a genius. He is in his early 20s, and the head of the Cornhill clan of the Natan family is a 7th level low-level Imperial Spiritual Master. Was he really killed by this kid? After hearing what Yelena said, the whole hall suddenly heard the sound of a formation. There was a lot of noisy discussion, and everyone looked at Jason in surprise, with disbelief in their eyes. Jason couldn't help but smile bitterly in his heart. He originally didn't want to be famous, but after Yelena said it, everyone in the entire hall now knew. Lord Patriarch at this moment, a servant rushed in from outside the hall door. All the discussions in the room stopped instantly, and the entire hall was silent. The servant knelt down on one knee and reported, "Master Patriarch, His Royal Highness Prince Tieria and his entourage have arrived at the entrance of the mansion." "His Royal Highness Prince Tieria and his entourage have arrived? Hurry, come with me to greet them." Aludi, with a solemn look on his face, Ba looked at Moo, and the two of them immediately went out together. As Aludiba and others disappeared, there was a commotion in the hall. "It's His Royal Highness Prince Tieria. Oh, has His Royal Highness Prince Tieria arrived? Look, following His Royal Highness Prince Tieria is Master Ballandain. Oh my God, it's really Master Ballandain. He is a 7th level intermediate elixir master, the elixir master of the Imperial Palace." Everyone was talking excitedly and gathered around the door. Tieria, whose full name is Tieria Erd, is the 4th prince of His Majesty Peter of the Salem Empire. He is only 19 years old now. He has been extremely smart since he was a child and is deeply loved by His Majesty Peter. However, the Empire, it is a pity for all the people that Tielia's talent is extremely poor and she is not suitable to be a spiritual master or elixir. Until now, Tielia has not become a 1st-level spiritual disciple. This is under the guidance of His Majesty Peter. Among the many princes, he is the most special existence. This matter made Peter the Great extremely troubled. He had invited countless elixir masters to change Tieria's talent that could not be cultivated. As a result, all the elixir masters in the palace of the Salem Empire tried again, and all failed. No success was achieved. Although strength is not the most important thing for an emperor of an empire, in a world where strength is respected like stern, an emperor without strong strength will always feel very awkward. Therefore, although Tielia is very favored by Peter the Great, many people do not expect Tielia to succeed Peter the Great and become the next generation emperor of the Salem Empire. Compared with other princes in the empire, Tielia is not as strong in strength. In this area, Tieria is really lacking too much. As Prince Tieria entered, the hall suddenly became much quieter. Many people approached Prince Tieria intentionally or unintentionally, trying to attract his attention. Because of the passage of time and the fact that all the important people were present, the birthday party soon got into the theme. That's the display of birthday gifts.